Most people are still just prompting ChatGPT, but a few are already building their own AI-powered systems for print on demand. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So let's jump right in. So you may have heard of this AI thing called OpenClaw. So here we go, this is the official website of OpenClaw. So right now there are not a lot of people in print on demand talking about OpenClaw. Shout out to Jose from MyScale. Now if you don't have any idea what OpenClaw is, the website right here says it in the title. It's the AI that actually does things. Now, what's a traditional way to use an AI? Well, it's basically like a chatbot, like ChatGPT. So you get your topic, your questions, you put it in a new chat in ChatGPT, and then you get your answer from ChatGPT. But you are always the one that's proactive in this context. Then there came this guy that's called Peter Steinberger. That's the founder of OpenClaw. And he basically had the idea of, well, yeah, let's basically give the AI full access to your computer. And let's just see where it goes. And yeah, that's my version of OpenClaw in a nutshell. So since it has full access to your computer, it can do stuff like run commands or code apps for you. And what's unique for OpenClaw is the fact that you can build your own AI agents. And these are basically your own virtual assistants that work autonomously. So in the print-on-demand space, you could have an agent that does the research. And since it has full access to your computer, it can also use tools like Flying Research for this task. And then you could have another agent to generate your designs and edit these designs in an editing pipeline, for example. Another one writes your listings and checks trademarks. And you could have an agent that checks your prices and adjusts these prices. Or like gives you recommendations for these price adjustments. I would never give OpenClaw access to my Amazon merch account. And then you could have an agent that does the ads for you. The possibilities are basically endless with OpenClaw. And the cool thing about this is the fact that you can talk with it like a normal virtual assistant. My OpenClaw agent is running in Telegram. And by the way, he's called Klaus. You know, OpenClaw, Klaus. By the way, I'm still not an expert on OpenClaw. But right now I'm just using it and building it every day, basically. The rabbit hole can go deep, trust me. And I have to admit, the setup is not that simple. So would I recommend OpenClaw to everyone and their grandma? Right now, no. But if you're a bit of a tech nerd, just like me, then you will have your fun with it. Now let me show you what I've built with it. So here we go, this is my mission control. And yeah, that's basically my dashboard where all the tools are collected. Right now it's a bit of a chaos, but that's okay, it's just for me at this point. So every time I want OpenClaw to code me a new app, it has to add this app into this mission control. So first of all, I got this mission statement at the top right here. My goal right now is to make 50k monthly net profit. And yeah, I saw this mission statement idea in another video. And I thought to myself, that's a great idea, so let's do it. When you see a mission statement, every time you open this browser window, you always know what you're working for. And your OpenClaw agent always has to work towards this goal. So let me show you the tools that I built. Okay, I'm sorry, Klaus built it for me. So props to him. So first of all, we got this niche scanner right here. So you can basically choose a big niche right here or enter a list of custom niches. And then you can choose the number of sub niches that it needs to generate. And I also implemented this infinity mode. So when you do a check mark right here, it basically finds broad niches on its own, generates these sub niches, and yeah, basically runs until you stop it. So my strategy is go to small niches. That's where I'm quite successful with. But the first step is always to find sub niches and validate them on Amazon. So this tool basically generates sub niches, puts them into Amazon.com together with the keyword shirt, and gives me the total number of products. So this tool alone already saves me a lot of time, because now I just have to check a Google Sheet and basically have a huge list of sub niches together with their search results. The next step would be this visual verification. It's unfortunately not yet implemented. I tried implementing it already, but it seems to be a bit more complicated. So what that visual verification means is that the AI takes a look at the search results, and yeah, specifically the t-shirts that appear in the search results, and checks the BSRs and the reviews of these products. And if there are t-shirts in that niche that have a good BSR, and if there are also t-shirts with reviews, then that's a good niche for me, and then I create designs for it. So let's check some more tools. This is the Prompt Studio. This works basically like a custom GPT that I built. But yeah, basically with this tool I don't need the custom GPT anymore. Then we got the niche validator. Okay, we actually don't need that anymore because we got it in the niche scanner. Then we got the design library. So here in this design library, I basically put in a few trending design styles. And you can just do this with drag and drop or just click to browse. And let me show you an example like this one. Once you put in the design into a library, the AI puts tags on this design, but also generates a prompt from this design. Right now it says transparent background, and that's because I want it really simple at the start. So I just use Ideogram's transparent background generation. Now let's close that again. You can see that it's still selected, so that's a bug. And yeah, well, basically my idea of this design library is that the AI has some different styles to use, so that you just give the AI the niche and the phrase, and the AI just chooses the best style that fits this phrase. Okay, so next we got the design scaler. So right here you choose your design, so just drag and drop your designs in. And yeah, right now it's not connected to the design library. That would be the next step. And then you just explain what's in the image, like for example a raccoon, or you can just write animal, that also works. And then you can put a list of new animals right here and put a new quote in this field right here. You can set a suffix that every prompt has to have at the end. And you can also put in some custom instructions. So once you click generate prompts, it takes your example designs, converts these example designs into prompts, and then edits these prompts one after another. And yeah, then you will basically get a huge list of prompts in this field. But what I also implemented to make life easy is this field right here. So right now the settings are just like I wanted. And once the prompts are finished, you can just click this icon that says CSV right here. And then you can just upload this CSV file to Ideogram batch generation. So then Ideogram generates all your designs and puts it into a zip file. But as we know, the text isn't always perfect. So that's why I came up with this text validator. Well, it's basically another great tool that makes life easy and saves you a lot of time, of course. So you put in the phrase right here that has to be on the designs, and you upload the zip file that you got from Ideogram. And then the AI basically scans every design, reads the text on it, and creates two folders. A folder with the designs where the text is perfect, and a folder with the designs that we can't use. So if you're working with hundreds of designs, a tool like this will save you a lot of time. Next we got this little tool that's called Shirt Sorter. And yeah, for this one we got a small description right here. Well, so when generating these designs, I ran into another problem. There are designs that work best on dark t-shirts, but there are also designs that work best on white t-shirts. And yeah, well, basically this little tool separates these types of designs automatically. So with this workflow right now, and yeah, I say right now because in all these tools there's still room for improvement, like room to make things even more efficient and connecting tool after tool. Alright, back to the topic. So here you can put in the Excel file and then you can put in your designs. You click the big blue button and then I basically get two Excel files. The one file is for bright shirts and the other one is for dark shirts. So then these files are basically ready to use for Flying Upload. And that's what I do. I drag and drop the Excel file into Flying Upload, apply the correct profile in Flying Upload. I got one for dark shirts and I also got one for bright shirts. And then I just upload this batch one after another. So these are basically just small helper tools that will save you a lot of time. So of course I'm still doing my normal process from research to designs. But for each step in this process, I now think to myself, okay, how can we do this more efficiently? And how can we automate this process? And what app can we build for it? So I described this problem to Klaus. He puts this app into our mission control. And then, yeah, it's honestly a bit of testing and debugging. So yeah, it's not perfect at the first start, but you will get there in 90% of the cases. And by the way, I'm not using the expensive OpenClaw 4.6 model. I will give you some tips on the moment on how to save a lot of money. And then we got another small tool that's called Listing Writer. And yeah, Listing Writer is a bit misleading because it doesn't write your whole listing. It just writes the title. So you just upload the CSV files that Ideogram gives you. And you upload the CSV file of your designs, basically, that you selected. And then it basically extracts the most important information from these prompts and writes them as a title. Now let's talk a bit more about OpenClaw itself. So I know a lot of people buy Mac Minis to run OpenClaw on it. I haven't done this yet, but I'm using my old MacBook Pro, which I normally use to run Flying Upload with it. You can also use a VPS like Hostinger, for example, for OpenClaw, but that's basically only recommended if you want to use APIs from these AIs. A local machine is just better if you want to wipe code apps like I just showed you. So you don't need to buy a Mac Mini right away for it. If you got a second system laying around, just do it with that. And yeah, never install OpenClaw on your main system, because it literally has full access to everything. And that's quite a big security issue, so just use a second system. So I still wanted to give you some tips and tricks on how to save money. So when I started with OpenClaw, I used Google Gemini for it, because for some reason they gave me 250 euros worth of API credits. So of course I used them until they were not valid anymore. And now I use the service that's called OpenRouter. That's basically a platform where you sign up one time, get one single API key, and then you can use all the different kinds of models with this one single API key. It's also credit based, and you can basically not overspend it, because you first have to put in some money to use it. So you can see my monthly spend right here. Let's take a look. You can see the used models right here. For coding these apps, I used Gemini at the beginning, but then I used this model that's called Kimi K2.5, which has also great coding capabilities, and it's also very affordable. And then I used the Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite model when my agent is basically doing nothing, or when I just chat with it. Then I also experimented with this Grok model, and then we got Hunter Alpha, but as you can see, it didn't really work. That's supposed to be a free model, but it didn't really work in my tests. So yeah, in conclusion, I use Kimi K2.5 for coding and Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite for everything else. So here are my thoughts on this topic. OpenClaw is basically a really powerful tool that can save you a lot of time and money. And you can basically set up your own army of virtual assistants. As I said, it's not really that simple to set up. And still, if you got it once up and running, you could run into problems that you have to fix with other AIs. At least that's my experience with it. Now here's a great tip for those of you that want to get started right now. If you got the ChatGPT Plus plan, go check out the ChatGPT app that's called Codex. And that's basically ChatGPT's own vibe coding app. So if you're a bit overwhelmed with the setup of OpenClaw, just get started with Codex. But if you're just a bit techy, go ahead and test OpenClaw. I guarantee it will be mind-blowing for you. Now if you're looking for the best AI generator to use with OpenClaw, but don't know which one to choose, then check out this video right here.